Welcome back everyone to episode 16, where we are still struggling to bring KoRail, the worst ranked Korean team, all the way to the Tour de France. In this episode we have a ton of races lined up for you, mostly 2.2 and 1.2 races. Kind of races that are not on the level as we had earlier, but that should mean some victories here for our team, starting today off with the Belgrade Banja Luka, a 4-day stage race, 3 flat stages, 1 quite hilly stage race, and I'm betting that this tour is being determined here in the 3rd stage, so we'll need to bring a climber here for that for sure. Second, we have the Rutland Milton Cycle Classic, a British race, which seems to be quite cobbly and classic. We'll have to bring Fietske Paul for that, as he is our cobble champion so far. Third, we have the Raf Eisenbank, an Austrian race, very hilly but somehow classified as flat. I have no idea how. Fourth, the Grand Prix Vorarlberg, another Austrian race, 2 Austrian races here in this episode, which is also ranked as flat. But looking at the terrain here, it is hill after hill after hill. We will definitely struggle with this one. Next up, we have the Tin Trio Omloop van het Waasland, a Belgium race, incredibly flat race here as well. Great for our sprinters, that should prove plenty of opportunity here to win this one, and should be fit definitely for someone like Christophe Graal or Severi. Next up we have the Grand Prix Herning, another race that is slightly hilly and has cobbles, so another race that is similar to a classic one, should fit Paul Fietske quite well. And then we have the Grand Prix de Cotonou, in a country of a flag that I checked and already forgot. Very flat race, 102 kilometers only, great for our sprinters I would say, we should score well here. Last but certainly not least, we're ending this episode on the Fyn Rund Tour of Fynen, a Danish race here, a lovely Danish race, slightly hilly, which again should suit some of our sprinters and climbers and, you know, classics riders. Let's start this episode off with the first stage here of the Belgrade race.
The profile of this race is quite flat. Expect a fast pace from the peloton. The race will take place in beautiful weather conditions.
At least the weather conditions are beautiful for us today, and it shows here in the statistics of our riders. A bit unexpected that they are doing so well, but you know, I'm happy to see that for them. Setting out Cole Owen here in the beginning to try and get into the breakaway. I don't think the breakaway will make it all the way towards the end. It's better to have someone in there just in case that it does. In the meantime, we'll definitely defend Fietske and Savakovsky, although Savakovsky not the best statistics here today, but he is a really good sprinter. You see his sprints had not really affected. Van Strijtem having a fantastic day, however, so maybe we can get some, you know, good results here with him. Big sprint here by Cole Owen towards the first in-between sprint point, getting across the line here as first, getting some bonus points and normally bonus seconds as well. But for some reason, there's no bonus seconds on this line. So that means that for me, this breakaway doesn't really matter because I do not care about any of the points. Into the mountain section, I'm sending Jae Hwan-jun up first. Again, we have a mountain climber with us because of that 3rd hilly stage where I'm thinking that Jae Hwan-jun will do well. And, you know, let's get that mountain jersey with Jae Hwan-jun as well. He deserves to do well here. He is one of our best mountain climbers, so should definitely be able to get that mountain jersey. On towards the last 7 kilometers here of this race. I put on my sprint train a little bit late, to be honest. It is a bit of a tricky terrain here. It is quite in the streets, so it will be definitely tricky to do a final sprint here. But, you know, maybe I should have done it a bit earlier. Maybe I should have started sprinting a bit earlier. We still have a lot of riders left. We still have a lot of energy left here as well. Hoping to do a good lead out here for Fietske, another contender here for the GC, a rider that definitely will be important for us here in this tour. 2 kilometers left to go. I split up the group. I do a sprint with Cole and Fetty at the same time, hoping that they will be positioned properly. 1 kilometer to go. Fietske jumping off the wheel of Severi here, moving towards the finish line. Can he get across the line here as first? There's 2 riders also challenging him. Maybe he'll make it. No, definitely not. The British rider here getting across the line as first. Paul Fietske getting across the line here as second. Severi as 5th, as I can see here from the screen to our top right. And that means just barely outside that victory, barely outside the top step of the podium. Fietske here ending up as second, gaining some bonus seconds at least. And I'm surprised that this tour does not have any bonus seconds in the in-between sprints. Would have been nice to have, but you know, it will just have to do well in the final sprints here in these stages. Jae Won-jun currently leader in the mountain classification as well. That's a good jersey for him to have, and that means a little bit of additional income here for us as well. And Paul Fitzke, second place here in the first stage of the Belgrada Banja Luka. On to the second stage. Severi here, the favorite of the stage. Let's see if he can make that role true.
It's going to be a monotonous day when it comes to the terrain, but at least the teams with sprinters won't be complaining. And, of course, those opportunists with a bit of daring won't make their life easy.
Well, and we definitely are those riders with a bit of daring. I'm sending out Jae Won-jun here to fight for those mountain points that are relatively early on in the stage. Again, I do not care about the points of the in-between sprints, so other riders can happily get those. I just want to get those mountain points here with Jae Won-jun. And in the meantime, we'll obviously protect Severi and Fitzke. Severi, the basically number one position here for this race, the favorite for this race, I should say. Hoping that he can make that favorite role come true, but we'll have to see if that will actually be the case here in the end. Jae Won-jun here, exhausted. You see the breakaway with Jae Won-jun actually being caught up here towards the end, trying to get towards the line here, but gets overtaken by two of the riders that are attacking. So, getting at least a point here for Jae Won-jun. Keeping his mountain jersey for today's stage, but it's not really what our goal was here with him today. 8 kilometers again before the end of this stage. Having our sprint train together again, but it's not really forming properly. You see here Ferretti moving out all the way up front, and Carpentier having issues weaving himself through the peloton. The rest of our riders trying to catch on to the wheel of each other, trying to make sure that this sprint train actually moves forward as well as possible. Big lead out near here now by Carpentier with 3 kilometers left to go. Energy gels have gone off. I'm start with a very early sprint here by Van Strijtem. Cole moving out of his wheel. Fitzke jumping as well with 1 kilometer to go. Savukovsky now up in front. Can he pass Fitzke? Can he stay in front of these other riders? The Italian rider Garbi moving across the line here as second, as Paul Fitzke actually takes it. Manages to take it here in the end. Paul Fitzke, what a surprise here in this second race. I did not expect him to win this one, as Severi was jumping from his wheel, and he has incredible statistics today. Paul Fitzke just barely finishing in front of him and the Italian rider here. Fantastic job here by him. Should keep him, or should move him towards the top step here in the general classification. And you see that it does 6 seconds ahead of the British rider. Savukovsky now in 6th as well in the general classification. So a great job here today by our team. An unexpected victory for Fitzke, but isn't that what he is good at? Getting those unexpected victories, getting those unexpected wins. Wins where maybe you would not expect Fitzke to show up, but instead he is there. Jae Won-jun getting the best climber jersey in the second stage here as well. The next stage with the hills will most likely be his biggest challenge, as he is our best hill or mountain rider in the team as far as I can tell, together with Paul Fitzke. So the two of them together will be the challengers towards the general classification tomorrow. In the meantime, we're enjoying the points classification also with Paul. Thanks to his second place yesterday and his first place today, getting the points jersey as well will take that victory. Severi actually in 3rd place in that classification as well, which is surprising. As Paul Fitzke has the general classification, he also has the young riders classification. So 3 jerseys for him at this moment. However, he will definitely be starting in the yellow jersey tomorrow, as that is the main jersey for him. The winner of today's stage, Paul Fitzke, also moving up now in the general classification to first, 6 seconds ahead of the British rider. You see also the Italian rider moving up a bunch of places here, now in 3rd. Severi sadly moving down a spot, 16 seconds behind Paul. Hoping that he'll be able to make up some seconds and maybe get a higher position in the general classification. However, it's more important here to defend this number 1 spot here in this tour with Paul Fitzke, and that's what we're aiming for in the next 2 stages. 2 stages ahead, 2 stages to go. That means that there are 2 stages left to lose this number 1 spot. And with the 3rd stage, which is this lovely hill stage, coming up right now, and it will be a difficult one.
Hello to one and all. It's an undulating route, so it will be a tactical race. The race will take place in beautiful sunny conditions.
At least the conditions are good again. You see 2 hills towards the end of this race. That means a breakaway will definitely not get away this time. People will obviously try and form something here, but I am not interested in being away here in the breakaway. What's important for us is defending Paul Fitzke and Jae Hwan-jun, and with the rest of our riders we'll try and see here what we can do. Again, defending our riders is the top priority, and you see here now towards this first climb we have been pushing quite a lot. There's still a breakaway away somehow. Jae Hwan-jun trying to get here up front, 4 riders here in front of us. The rest of our riders are absolutely exhausted. That means the rest of the peloton must be as well. After this, however, a nice downhill section, hopefully able to restore some of that energy. Getting across the line here as 5th or 4th, I think. I don't know if there's any energy or any points here left for us. Maybe there are. It was a category 1 climb, so there should be additional bonus points here on the line. What is important here is this second climb. You see here Jae Hwan-jun wanting to go upwards again towards the front of this peloton. It will be important for him to get across the line here. I do not understand how any of these riders have this much energy. Jae Hwan-jun absolutely exhausted here. Still 4 kilometers to go, 6 kilometers before the line. Paul Fitzke going into the lead here of this race now, dragging everyone else up this hill. Doing it at a pretty good tempo. He doesn't have the best statistics today, but it is not infecting most of his main statistics, which is great for us. The group has splintered immensely. You see Jae Hwan-jun slowly but surely falling behind now. It's 1 minute gap towards Paul Fitzke, and a group of 18 riders is left now here in this stage. 4 kilometers left to go. Paul moving up the pace even more. That means that the group behind will definitely suffer, and it will be tougher and tougher here on these riders. A little bit of a downhill section, which means that Paul can regain some of his energy. His energy gels have already been used, so no chance here for him. Getting a little bit of yellow bar here in the descent. 1 kilometer left. Time for us to do a little bit of a sprint, but we get caught out slightly. Sprint slightly too late here. And the Italian rider getting across the line here is first. Paul finishing in a group of 5, getting a big gap towards the other riders, finishing as 2nd, however, which is great for the result that we had. The rest of our team falling behind, but Paul getting across the line here as 2nd. 8 seconds ahead now of the Italian rider, moving up 49 positions, this Italian rider. Fantastic job here by him. Jae Hwan-jun also moving up a ton of positions. Severi as a sprinter, sadly dropping down the rankings. Most of our sprinters moving down these rankings. Van Strijtem here all the way down towards the bottom. So our sprinters definitely suffered here, but defending Paul and defending Jae Hwan-jun was the correct decision. Paul getting across the line here in a 2nd place, still first in the general classification with 1 stage left to go, 8 seconds ahead of the number 2. First also now in different classifications, and with this final stage left to go, all we need to do is defend his jersey.
It's going to be a monotonous day when it comes to the terrain, but at least the teams with sprinters won't be complaining, and of course, those opportunists with a bit of daring won't make their life easy.
A very flat stage here today, some mountain points up for grab. I tried to sprint away here with Jae Hwan-jun, but he's super much inside of the peloton. He is very much boxed in. So I tried to pick up the pace here with Van Strijtem, tried to close down the breakaway that went ahead here with them, so Jae Hwan-jun can still manage to do a little bit of a jump ahead. I still want to try and see if I can get that mountain jersey with him. He has plenty of points. He is close to being first in that general classification, and he does manage to get away towards this breakaway group. Still another group ahead though, so it will become a bit difficult for him. He jumps away again, even from this group to try and head or spearhead the peloton. Another little bit of an attack here for him to try and get towards this main group. 1 kilometer left to go now. Out of energy is Jae Hwan-jun. Can he get across the line here? Can he beat any of these other 2 riders? There are points for grab here. 2 points up for grab. We get across the line here as third. Sadly, losing out on that mountain jersey. The in-between sprint points are not interesting for us. So let's skip up towards the end. 8 kilometers left to go. We have our sprint train. We have our sprint train going, and indeed this will end up in a mass sprint for sure. Let's see what we can do here. Paul Fietske needs to defend an 8-second lead, which he should be able to do so, but you know, it's always scary here in these mass sprints. If we mess up and the Italian rider passes him, we will definitely lose that 8-second lead and lose the general classification here with him. So it is still a very close race here with 4 kilometers to go. We are pushing and giving it everything. We are making sure our riders are in the prime position for a all-out sprint here. 3 kilometers left to go. All ahead now. Big start of a sprint here. A little bit early of a sprint here, but there is a corner with 2 kilometers left to go. We lose a lot of positions here in the front of this peloton. Fietske now behind Matthijs, trying to sprint here, getting blocked actually by Severi, losing all of his positioning. What will this do for our classification? I think the Italian rider here gets across the line here a second. Do we defend our jersey? I think we should with 2 seconds here. 3rd place for Severi, but ooh, I feel like Fietske would have done such a better job here in this stage. 2nd place here for the Italian rider. Fietske defending his jersey. The Italian rider not moving up. Probably a different Italian rider here, getting across the line a second. Meaning that Paul Fietske will be first in the general classification here in this Belgrade Tour. Great job here by him, winning the overall classification. Hwan-jun Jae barely missing out here of the climber's jersey. 1 point sadly away from being on that top step, but still ending up here in 2nd place in this jersey is a good job here by him. Obviously hoping to do a little bit better here, but you know, I feel like he brought Fietske towards victory in that 2nd stage and towards victory in the general classification, so we cannot be mad at him. Points classification, Fietske ending up first, thankfully. I'm not exactly sure how he did it, but he probably gathered a bunch of points here in these finishes, in these 2nd place finishes, so great job by him. Also first in the young riders classification, as you saw, and we didn't really end up anywhere in team classification, which doesn't matter for us, as we are first here in the general classification of the Belgrada Banja Luka. Thankfully did not lose his 1st place here towards the Italian rider, and the rest of our team finishing a little bit lower here in the general classification. Hoping to do well with them as well, but you know, we cannot beat this 1st place here in this tour. Florian here in 90th place, and all the way at the bottom we have Matthijs, losing a lot of time in the previous stages, really trying to help the team out here, really trying to get them towards a victory, and in the end succeeding. So Paul Fietske, winner of the Belgrade Tour, on towards a British Classic where Paul Fietske is one of the favorites as well.
It's a difficult race with several cobbled sections. The bikes will be severely tested. It is under a bright sun that today's race will be run.
A very, very difficult race here. Paul, sadly not the best statistics, so not the best start here for him. Already a group of the breakaway
It's probably a bit too early
has happened, so not much chance for us to do anything here. All we can do here is stick into the peloton and hope that the breakaway does not make it towards the end. We will just protect Sabakovsky and Fietske. Fietske, our classic rider, doing incredibly well, actually. Krol Christoph with us today as well, our #1 classified rider at the moment, I think, or at least being very close to Paul Fietske. They are doing an incredible season together. So hoping to do well with them in this race as well. 9 kilometers left to go. The breakaway indeed did not make it all the way towards the end. You see our riders are absolutely exhausted. This race with all the cobbles has been very, very hard on our riders, and what a great race this actually is here in the British countryside. Beautiful views here of the British countryside as well. loving it, and we should have more races in England, to be fair. It's a fantastic country to cycle in, and I wish the culture there would pick up even more. In the meantime, 5 kilometers left to go here for our team. Again, our sprint train is going all out. It is a little bit of an uphill section here with a downhill section afterwards, so we really need to push forward here and hopefully break apart the peloton even more. 48 riders left here in the peloton. KoRail Christoph being the next to lead them out here. Add 2 kilometers left to go. Riders are really trying to get ready for the sprint here. A big sprint here. A little bit of a kilometer left. Paul Fietske and Jae Jun actually sprinting. I have no idea why Jae Jun was in the wheel of Paul Fietske, but I'll take it. And Fietske here riding towards a first place. Once again, our Classics rider proving why he is a Classics rider. Winning this difficult British race here. KoRail Christoph getting across the line here as third. Won Jun Jae actually finishing here as fourth. An unexpected fourth place, honestly, for our mountain rider. Great job here by him today. Paul Fietske, our Classics rider, proving here in the British countryside on these cobbled sections that he, again, is one of the better Classics rider, one of the better cobbles riders in the world, winning again in this 1.2 race. Not a pro race, not one of the better, races with the higher teams. You see here also the Lotto development team is here instead of the actual Lotto team, which means that our competition isn't as high as it should be. But, it's still a victory here for Paul Fietske, a confident victory for Paul Fietske. And I'm curious at one point how he'll measure up towards those top teams again, or towards Van Aert. He already won the Volta NXT Classic, so a great job by him proving himself that he can measure himself up against some of the best in the world. And now also winning another 1.2 race here, another Classics race in this episode. Great job here by Paul Fietske. KoRail Christoph ending up as third, Jae Jun ending up as fourth. The top 5 consisting out of 3 of our riders. I think that is a victory on its own. A great job here today by our team. On to the first Austrian race of this episode. I keep wanting to say Australian for some reason, but it's definitely Austrian right here in this stage. It's classified as flat, but it's very hilly.
Greetings to all. It's going to be a monotonous day when it comes to the terrain, but at least the teams with sprinters won't be complaining. And, of course, those opportunists with a bit of daring won't make their life easy.
It's interesting to see that this is a monotonous terrain, as you see a lot of hills here in this race. Again, we will defend Fietske here as he is on a roll. He also has incredible stats today. Jesus. +3 on the stats for him. Great day for him. So I'm hoping that will result in another victory. He has been on a roll, winning the Belgrade Tour, winning the British Classic race that we just had, and now here in this first Austrian race of the episode, hoping for him to do well. Van Strijtem also with a +3. So 2 of our main sprinters and Classics riders have pretty good statistics today. The breakaway definitely did not make it here towards the end. 6 seconds left here in this little attack that they have, and it is increasing. You see some of the riders actually trying to jump away towards the end. Most of our riders are already exhausted. Hong and Kim Hyun-sok do not have the level to stay towards the end here. And with 7 kilometers to go, we have our sprint train together. Van Strijtem also being done. Try to stick it out as long as possible for him, but not really the stage for him, it seems. Kind of messing up my sprint train a little bit, losing a lot of momentum here with our riders and with a lot of auto riders attacking. It means that this stage will become more difficult and more difficult. Now this rider here, incredible attack with the last 3 kilometers inside. It is downhill, so it's difficult for us to catch up. I'm really trying to put everything into our riders to try and catch up, doing a very early sprint here with Turnbull. I'm so worried that this rider will stick it out. He does get caught by our riders, but that means that we lost most of our energy. Fietske here pushing everything out of his legs to try and get towards the finish line. Getting there in first as well. Another victory here by Paul Fietske. Great job here by him. Our Classics rider winning here in Austria. Great job in this episode so far. Every race basically won here by Paul Fietske. Not counting the stage races that we had in the Belgrade Tour. But the general classification hit by him won there as well, as we have now the second race victory here in a row by Paul Fietske. What an episode for him, winning again and again and again. Not something that I expect from him, but this is probably the moment in his season where he is peaking, where he is doing really well. Christoph Krol did that early in the season, got us a lot of points and a lot of meaningful victories there. But now it's Paul Fietske doing the same here. This is his moment in the season to shine, and he is definitely shining here. Our German rider really proving his worth, getting another victory here in today's episode. 3 victories basically now in today's episode by him. Great job, Paul. Really showing how you've done and how you're growing. So fantastic result here again by Paul. 7th place here for Severi, and the rest of our riders ending in a top 10 or a bit higher. You see Hong Ji-won, our support rider, ending up more towards the back, but that is well done by him. He supported our team for most of this race, and in the end it was just a bit too much in this final section, so he had to drop off and slowly cycle it out towards the end, which again, great job and thank you for your support, Hong. Now on to the next race, another Austrian race here lined up for us today. Classified as flat, but again, very hilly here, so let's see.
Today's terrain is fairly level, so it's ideal ground for those who are good on the flat.
I guess fairly level means quite flat in the end with hills all throughout the race. So that's always exciting. Kim Hyun-suk here up front in this race, so I decide to send him out into the breakaway, hoping that if there is a chance that the breakaway makes it away, that, you know, he will be in there. He doesn't have the best statistics today, but, you know, there's always a chance for the breakaway to make it towards the end, and if it does, then he will be in a pretty decent position to get a victory here for us in this Austrian race. Again, we brought Fietske, again, another incredible day here for him. +3 on the statistics. Owen Cole also with a +3. So our riders are actually doing really well in these stages. I'm very surprised. So good job by us? Question mark? Good job by their trainers, probably I should say. Here now towards the end, Kim Hyun-suk sadly did not make it. A group broke off, and Jae Hwan-jun and Heo were part of that group. They were slightly further in the back of the peloton, and when that group broke off, they weren't able to move back forward. So all we have left here are Hong, Owen Cole, and Paul Fietske. 3 riders that should make it here towards the end with 6 kilometers to go. Hong now up front as Kim Hyun-suk is in this group, but absolutely exhausted, trying to defend Paul here towards the end. However, with 5 kilometers to go, I need to put Owen Cole up front, which is very, very early, honestly, in this race. I tried to jump away here in this uphill section, tried to force an attack. There are riders up front here, trying to make it difficult here for these other riders, but there's no chance for us really to catch up to these other riders that are ahead of us. They are almost a minute ahead of us as well. And that means that in this last kilometer, I do not think that there is much of a chance for us to really do anything. There's not much of a chance to really catch up to them. As you see here, we definitely will not catch up to them. Fietske still jumping away, trying to get towards the finish line, trying to get a top 3. Does not manage to get a top 3. A 4th position here by Fietske, managing to at least pass another rider here along the way. 4th place here by Paul Fietske. Sadly interrupting his winning streak, but the other riders here cycled just a bit better, cycled a bit better strategically as well. So no additional victory here for Paul Fietske, and that means that he ends up here in 4th place. Owen Cole finished getting across the line here as 12th. Pretty decent race here by our riders, and interested here by Joshua, who did a fantastic job here today, getting a 2nd place. The British rider here, great job by him. The rest of our riders moving down the ranks as well. So not the race for us. 4th place here by Fietske. Pretty decent job. On to a very flat race here in Belgium, the Trinito Omloop van het Waasland. Great for our sprinters.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. The profile of this race is quite flat. Expect a fast pace from the peloton. The race will take place in beautiful sunny conditions.
The conditions might be positive, but the statistics on our team are not. a lot of minus statistics, Severi thankfully being neutral at least. He will definitely be one of our main sprinters, so we will definitely protect him here in the main bunch in the peloton, and we'll just kind of try to protect our riders and stay towards the end. I do not believe that a breakaway will make it all the way towards the end, so it will be the safest bet to just stay in here and wait until the peloton reaches the end, and we'll try to sprint for a victory here as best as we can, of course. In the meantime, even our Belgian rider, which I would have loved to actually send away here in the attack, will just stay in the bunch and hopefully deliver a good sprint together here with Severi Savokowski.
Only 10 kilometers left.
On towards the last 10 kilometers here of this race. As you can see, the group is still away with 40 seconds, so it's going to be a bit tricky. We'll definitely have to chase them down here towards the final stretch. Hopefully, we'll be able to catch up to them and, you know, actually beat them in the sprint. You see some riders already dropping off. The exhaustion is great. They've been up on the front for a while. I'm surprised they made it this far, but you know, the strangeties of a flat race, I guess. Big lead out now here, less than 6 kilometers to go. Hoping that we'll make it again towards the end. There's still a 20-second gap towards the front group. We are not breaching over quite as quickly as I'm hoping to. So this will be a very tight sprint here towards the end. Can we make it? Can we pass these last several riders? 3 more riders from the breakaway dropping out now, and we still have 2.5 kilometers to go, so that's quite positive. Ferretti here sadly getting blocked towards the end. We do manage to pass this last rider, and you see the group has actually broken up a little bit. 5 riders up front, which are basically our riders. We do a big sprint here with 1 kilometer to go, but KoRail and Turnbull and Severi get passed by everyone here towards the end. The corner betraying us. I thought we were in a pretty good position. I guess we sprinted just slightly too early, and the corner making sure that we lost some momentum, I guess. In the end, getting across the line here as 8th, 9th, and 10th. So not ideal here for us, hoping that this would be a better result, especially seeing that we have some of our main sprinters here today in this Belgian race. In the end, 3 people in a top 10. It's not really what we were aiming for, but it's definitely not something to be sad about. We do have, or we did already win a lot of different races, and now getting 3 people in the top 10 here is definitely not a shame for us. Hopefully, KoRail will pick up his pace and we'll start winning again, because it's something we do kind of need. On to another classic race here in Denmark. Fietskepol, one of the top 5 favorites, with a lot of really good riders here. So let's see.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. It's a difficult race with several cobbled sections. The bikes will be severely tested.
The favorite for this race is Andreas Tukbro, a rider currently riding in the Tour, or the Unibet Titema Rockets team. Very famous, of course, on YouTube. Big fan of their team as well. Hopefully they'll do well next year and, you know, keep the main riders that they have at this moment. Big classic race here again today. I don't think the breakaway will make it towards the end. We're going to throw all our bets on Fietske, as he is our classics rider. And we'll just, you know, relax here in the peloton as much as we can relax, because the tempo is insanely high. You see a lot of attacks happening here. And towards the end, 13 or 14 kilometers to go. Most of our team is already exhausted. There's still a large group away from us. So I do an attack here with Fietske on this last little cobbled section. He does manage to get away, gets quite a big gap here towards the main peloton. The main peloton consisting of 13 or 14 riders now, so not a very large peloton either, and everyone in that peloton is exhausted, including Carpentier, including Cole. So Fietske actually has a pretty decent chance here to make it towards the end in front of the peloton. You see the gap slowly but surely growing as well. And in the meantime, we'll just protect Owen here in this bunch sprint. He does have the better sprint statistics, so hopefully he will do well. And Fietske can hopefully ride towards the riders in front of him. You already see 2 riders in front with a little bit less than 7 kilometers to go. He is in a pretty decent position. The gap is lowering every second, or by a second every couple of meters. So there is a pretty decent chance that he will make it here towards the end. I'm not sure how many riders are in front, however. at least a 4th place if he would get across the line right now in this race. 2 riders in front of him. That means that he will definitely catch up towards these 2 riders. And are these? No, these other 3 riders are actually in the back of the race, so those don't really count. You see a little bit of an attack here by Fietske to move forward. He does get across to these other 2 riders, and there you can see here there's at least 2 more riders in front of him. That means that we are now fighting for a 3rd place here in this race, trying to gather as much energy as possible. The riders from the back catching up now. Fietske sprinting with 1 kilometer to go. Cole and Carpentier also trying to sprint as well as they can, but Fietske being the stronger rider of these racers, racing himself all the way towards a 3rd place. A great job here by Fietske in this incredibly difficult classic race. 3rd place by Paul Fietske. And Andreas Stokbro actually making true to his favorite role here in today's race. So congratulations to him. Fantastic job by him. Fietske Paul, also an incredible job here by him. 3rd place in this race. Andreas Stokbro here, you can see, who, again, rider for the Unibit Tiedemann Rockets team, now riding for Team Colo Quick. Not really a team I'm very familiar with. But yeah, winning this race, so congratulations to him. Doing really well in real life as well, to be honest. He performed really admirably in the Tour of Britain for, I think, a couple of races. So good job. Good job, man. Jon here finishing towards the back. A bit too difficult of a race for him. A bit too exhausting. He supported our riders as well as we can. And that part of that support cost Fietske in the end to finish here as 3rd. 2 minutes behind the winner. Not a victory, but still a great race nonetheless.
Hello and welcome. Today's terrain is fairly level, so it's ideal ground for those who are good on the flat. Riding under such heat must be unbearable.
Welcome to Africa, everyone, here in another flat race with us today. We have a lot of our sprinters here as well. Attacking here with Joseph to see if we can stay in the breakaway or form a breakaway and stay in that breakaway all the way towards the end. The race is only 100 kilometers long, so it's not incredibly long, and I feel that a breakaway would have a pretty decent chance here to stay away, so I would definitely want to send someone here into this breakaway. Van Strijtem and Heo having these stats today, having positive stats today, so we're hoping that, you know, they will do well here towards this final sprint. In a flat race, you never know if the breakaway will make it in the end, but you know, I'm hoping that they will, and if they don't, then at least we have Van Strijtem and Heo here to really push towards a victory in these final parts of this race. Joseph here pushing on really, really hard, making sure that the breakaway is, you know, kind of struggling to actually get away. Big group behind him, and in the end they actually get caught, which is slightly disappointing. You know, I kind of want to stay away here, and you see a couple of other riders getting away as well, but do we jump? Do we jump? Yes, we do. Of course we do. We really want to try and get away with Joseph and see if the breakaway can make it all the way towards the end.
The riders are entering the last 10 kilometers of the stage.
Exactly, last 10 kilometers of the stage. You see here, the breakaway definitely did not make it all the way towards the end. So now it's up to us to basically lead out our riders as good as possible. You see here Heo as the final sprinter. I really want to get more Korean successes. That is what we're riding for. We have been lacking in that department. But, you know, maybe this stage is Heo's stage. Maybe he can get his first victory of the season. That would be ideal. Let's see what we can do here with our riders. A little bit less than 5 kilometers to go as we go under this arch. Big lead out now by our riders. We are very well positioned here up front. Again, another very flat section going slightly downhill, which is perfect for the energy for our riders. I'm not entirely sure how cornery this race is, because corners can always affect the race a little bit weirdly. But you see the arch for the last kilometer coming up ahead. A big lead out now by Joseph, the guy that tried to be in the breakaway for as long as possible. And a sprint now towards the end by our Irish rider. Heo, can he pass Ocean Ferretti? No, he cannot, but a second place here for Sungsu Heo. First place here for Ashin Ferretti. Trying to pronounce his name correctly, as I got corrected in one of the earlier episodes. But Ashin Ferretti, first place here in today's stage. Not the rider I was expecting to win here, but a win for him nonetheless, and that is great for us. First place for our Irish rider here today. Second place here for Heo Sung-soo. Great job. I wanted to show the podium, but I accidentally clicked results, so sorry about that. Here in Benin, which is, not a country I have on the map in general. So it's exciting to be here in this country, exciting to win here with our riders, exciting to ride a race here in this 1.2 stage where Christophe Krol couldn't do it. Aishin Ferretti actually manages to grab this victory here in the Grand Prix de Cotonou. Fantastic job here by him. Heo Sung-soo with another podium place here for him. Good result here for our Korean rider, something I can be happy with. On to the Finnrund Tour de Funen, another very difficult race, another race which should fit Fietskepal quite well as it is hilly. Yeah, flat but hilly. Definitely a race for
Ladies
Fietskepal.
and gentlemen, welcome. The profile of this race is quite flat. Expect a fast pace from the peloton.
A race for Fietske, I say, and then of course he starts with a -2 modifier. We'll still protect him here in the peloton. I do not think the breakaway will make it, although you already see it forming here. Quite some tough hilly sections as well here in this race. And we basically have our entire sprinters outfit with us, right? We have Fietske, we have Owen Cole, we have Kral Christoph, we have Severi Sabakovsky. So basically our 4 top sprinters are in this race, and as you can see here, the breakaway are having some issues staying away. There's attacks constantly here in this race, trying to make a gap here towards in these last 10 kilometers, trying to stay away here from the peloton. You see us pushing really hard here, trying to break up the peloton even more, trying to get towards this little group up front. The group cooperation here I don't think is entirely correct, as we still have a group of 44 riders here in the peloton, even though we are pushing quite hard. Yu Sarang being the lead out here of this group, which is pretty great. And other than that, yeah, 6 kilometers to go, trying to make sure that we are positioned very well here up front. We are succeeding in that quite well. Still a little bit of an uphill section here before the finish. The finish looking like it's ending up downhill as well. So that means that a downhill sprint will always be very tricky for us. So that means we need to sprint at the right time to deliver our riders as well as we can. Fietske now being part of the lead out. Incredible stamina, but just not the race statistics here today for him. 3 kilometers left to go. We keep on pushing uphill section here now for Fietske. 7 kilometers or 7% in the uphill, 2 kilometers left to go. Can we do a perfect lead out here for our riders with 1.5 kilometers to go? We are sprinting here through these corners, 1 kilometers here in this final straight. Who wins this race? Will it be us? Will it be Severi Sabakovsky? It's looking like it's Severi Sabakovsky winning this race. Cole Owen, second place. Kral Christoph in third. A top 3 here in this race, finishing this episode off with a top 3. An incredible result here for us today. Fantastic job here by our Finnish rider, our American, and our Czech rider. 3 riders that deserve those podium steps. Paul Fietske ending up in 7th place here, leading out our team towards the victory, driving them up that hill, making sure that we're positioned perfectly here for this final sprint in these difficult corners here towards the end. An amazing job by Paul Fietske. Really, really well done here by him. First also in the team classification, of course, which is well deserved in my opinion if the top 3 steps are from our team, right? Not much any other rider could have done here. Great job here by our team. Definitely something to be applauded and to be cheered for. Great job by Severi Sabakovsky, Owen Cole, and Christophe Krol. 3 riders that obviously have fantastic talents and keep showing them in these races. Although Christophe Krol still not the sprinter that he was in the beginning of the season. At least a podium place should give him the motivation and the spirits to get back into that groove. Hopefully getting those top steps again soon. Maybe even in the coming races and in the coming episodes. We'll have to see for that. Now let's quickly head on towards our points total. We currently have almost 2,400 points. We're really skyrocketing here. a big jump upwards. Paul Fietske now in first place in the team classification, jumping Karl Christoph. An incredible job here by our German rider, beating out our Czech rider finally. Our German rider who has been having success after success here in the past 3 episodes. We've been having so many difficulties and so many tough races, but Paul Fietske keeps proving himself here in these races. You see also Heo Sangsu moving up a spot, passing Owen Cole, and on the last step here is still Kim Hyun-suk with a 3rd place. Another episode to be happy with, another episode with fantastic results and a lot of races as well. Slightly shorter than usual, but I still hope you guys enjoyed, and hope you guys are looking forward to the next episodes. There's plenty more fun races to come, many more fun episodes to come as well. We're still working on getting this team to the Tour de France, but we want to be successful in that step. The more money we gain, the more experienced riders we can get, the more well-known we are as well. So that is our focus for these coming months. The transfer dossiers are slowly opening, so I hope you're looking forward to that as well. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Goodbye!